What is up, everyone? Welcome to the Monday, November 9th, American Nomad podcast. I am the American Nomad, Rob Holly. We're on B camera over here, just finishing getting everything set up here so we can get into today's show. The topic for today's show is going to be voter fraud. Is it happening? Did it happen? And is there any evidence that it happened? Or are people that are calling that they think there was, are we all just delusional? So we're going to be getting into that. That's going to be today's topic for today's show. So without further ado, let's get this show started. What do you say? Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, guys, if you're not already subscribed. I'd love to have you as a subscriber. All right, guys. Welcome to today's show, the Monday edition of the American Nomad podcast. I am the American Nomad, Rob Holly. I thank you guys for joining me. We're going to be talking today about voter fraud. That seems to be the hot topic that's going on right now with election results. And my question to all of you guys are we going to follow the law, or are we going to listen to the media? Yeah, that's right. As far as I have heard, none of these states have been certified. So correct me if I'm wrong, but until the states are certified, the actual election's not over. Correct? Let me know if I'm wrong on that. So anyway, I put out a Facebook story on, was it Friday, I believe, talking about people are going to be crying today because the election's not over. And so I ended up over the weekend kind of letting the nonsense get to me, and I kind of got hot under the collar, which I was trying not to do because I was trying to be just a good sport about this whole election nonsense. But then with all of the dismissive leftists just acting like because the media called the election, it's over. And I had to remind them that Al Gore thought he was president for 37 days until the actual recount was tallied and it ended in the courts. And as we know, history prevailed, and George Bush, who I was not a fan of, George Bush Jr., won that election. So we're kind of in that same boat now. And the thing that gets under my skin, I just watched... let me turn this music down just a little bit more for you guys. I just watched Philip DeFranco. I catch his little 20-minute newscast almost every day because I get caught up on current events on YouTube. And he hits on current events like the election and stuff like that. And he's a lefty. He's a full-on, Los Angeles liberal lefty and hates Trump. You know what I mean? He tries to be... he tries to be impartial, but, he can't because his hatred for Trump just overwhelms him. So he really can't, he can't keep himself from, being biased like all of the media. So I listened to him, and, he was just dismissing everything. Like everybody, all of anybody that doesn't think this election is over is just completely delusional. Now, I will say it's not looking good for Trump, but officially, this election is not over. I mean, that is the letter of the law. Is it over or is it not over? And if it's not over, it's not over. I got a notification here. So the fundamental question I have for you guys is, are we going to follow the law, or are we going to listen to the media? And the leftists, this whole thing was set up from, we knew it. That's the problem with this. That's why people on the right, conservatives, are so angry, is because we saw this coming. This is not like it's a big surprise to us. We saw this coming. We knew this is why they were pushing the COVID thing. They were pushing the COVID thing. Wait a minute. There's thousands of people all over the streets. Sunset Boulevard, over by the tar pits in La Brea, all of these places, Melrose Avenue right here in Los Angeles, packed, absolutely packed. And what were they packed with? People out in the streets celebrating. Wait a minute. I thought we've all been inside since March because of a pandemic. What's going on? Did I miss the memo? Is the pandemic over in Los Angeles? No, these motherfuckers are just absolutely vile. They're vile. And this is what they set up to, steal this election. And they did it masterfully. You got to hand it to them. Because they did it right in front of our face. This was their game plan all along. Push the COVID thing, push the COVID thing, push the COVID thing. The COVID hysteria, make COVID 100 times worse than what it actually is. I had COVID. I know what it's all about. So I'm talking from firsthand experience here. It wasn't a walk in the park, but there's not near as many people dying of COVID as they would like you to believe. The recovery rate is through the roof compared to people that actually die from it. So they pushed this COVID thing so they could get everybody out to get all of these mail-in ballots, all these people voting by mail instead of voting in person. They wanted all of these mail-in ballots coming in because they knew all of those mail-in ballots would throw everything into a chaotic mess. And then they could move ballots. They could do whatever they needed to do with these ballots to make sure that the ballots turned out on their side. So there's people that I've actually heard a couple of people, a lawyer, say that it's a mathematical improbability of how many people actually voted. So I don't know if that's true. These are the kinds of things that need to be proven. So here's my point. Are we fundamentally going to follow the law? Because the law is the election is not over. It's not over. Every vote's got to be counted, right? Or every ballot, every vote's got to be counted. Okay, so one thing that we're hearing a lot of is that if you listen to the mainstream media, and the mainstream media is on overdrive, if anything comes out about any kind of election, voter fraud, or anything like that, they're automatically suppressing that, as most of you probably know. Literally on Facebook, I got sent a video from October that was actually posted on Facebook in October, where Joe Biden has a brain fart and literally says, I tried to. So they suppressed the video, so you can't copy the link to share it, because I wanted to share it in the room here, but you can't share it because the Facebook fact checkers checked it and said that it was taken out of context. How many times has Facebook said that Trump was taken out of context when the mainstream media took him out of context? So anyway, in this video, you literally hear Joe Biden say, "We have set up the most comprehensible voter fraud in history," to something to that extent. Hold on, let me see. There's always a workaround, even though they've suppressed the video. There's always a workaround. So let me see if I can find a workaround here. I might actually let you hear what he said. Let me see if I can get the video going here. But you hear him say it. And so what did Facebook do? They come back and they say, it says, let me see what it says exactly. It says, missing context. The same information was checked in another post by an independent fact checker. So this isn't what Biden meant, because his cognitive dissonance, or whatever you want to call it, his brain doesn't function correctly all the time because he's in early states of dementia or early states of Alzheimer's, because kids like to rub the hair on his legs, come right out of his mouth. Let's listen to what he has to say.
We're in a situation where we have put together, and you guys did it for our the President Obama's administration before this. We have put together, I think, the most extensive and inclusive voter fraud organization in the history of American politics. Secondly, we're in a situation where we have put together...
Wow! Right out of the horse's mouth. Yeah, that's not hearsay. Right out of the horse's mouth. Right out of old Pedo Joe's mouth, right? Yeah. And let's not forget that in 2015, before the days of Trump, before TDS, Trump or TS Trump syndrome, what is it called? Anyway, before ever all the leftists lost their mind over Trump, Time magazine, none other than the prestigious Time magazine, came out with an article that was, if I can remember right, it was, are we still going to pretend that it's okay for Biden to be Biden? You can look this up. Google hasn't suppressed this. You can look it up. So, hit the Google and find, there's a Time magazine article that talks about how inappropriately through the years Joe Biden has been in public with women and little girls. It's out there. This video is probably going to be demonetized. So, but it is what it is. It is, what gets me the most is how they all think that all the leftists think that, Trump was this, he's Darth Vader to them. Trump is Darth Vader. They think he is the evil one, the evil man, because he says things that hurts their feelings. But this is how stupid they are, because the truth is Joe Biden they are the Death Star. I mean, they are the swamp. They are the status quo. You just voted in 2 career politicians who are the status quo. It's basically like the turkeys voting for Thanksgiving. But that's what they want. They want somebody that's politically correct, that's going to get up there and, talk softly and pander to their feelings and, tell them what they want to hear. They don't want anybody that's actually going to do anything for the country. And that's where we are right now. That's the state of affairs we're in. And the other thing about it is they're shutting people down with free speech. That's the thing about it. You don't have to look, was there voter fraud? It wasn't just voter fraud. I mean, the mainstream media, the entire mainstream media has been against Trump this entire time. So that's what Trump won against last time. He literally won against the mainstream media that was all bashing him continuously. So it's the giant wheel. It's the swamp. Trump against the swamp. It's always been that way since he started. He doesn't put up with all of their nonsense. He fights it. And us little people, we like that. I also want to touch really quick on the GOP. And I want to touch on Fox News. If you didn't get this memo, I've been saying this for years. Stop watching Fox News. Watch Tucker Carlson, because he used to be on MSNBC, and he shoots from the hip. Just like Trump. I mean, he tells it like it is. The rest of those Fox News anchors and Fox News itself, they are not Trump supporters. They pandered that they are, because they know their base is watching Fox, and that's why they're so popular. But in the grand scheme of things, I think it was Kathleen Murdoch, who is Murdoch's daughter, or I don't know exactly who she is, but you can check this out on her Twitter. Her family owns Fox News. If you haven't figured this out, I'm sure everybody knows this. But on her Twitter, she said, "We did it." That was her tweet. "We did it. We did it. We did it." That's the people that own Fox News. We did it. We did it. So if you haven't heard, Fox News is losing subscribers off of their Facebook page by the droves, by the hundreds, maybe thousands. And I got blocked yesterday on Facebook myself. I'm in Facebook jail for 7 days because I have a guy on my Facebook that's just always trolling. And, he's on every single one of my posts, especially if it's political. Some of you probably see him, Daryl Steplight. And so he's on and on and on and on and on and on and on. He's always telling me about how great he is with women and how suave he is, and telling me, I charge $500 an hour for women advice if you need me to give you some advice on women. If you go look at his Facebook page, There's not one picture of him with a woman on his Facebook page. Not one. He says he has a fiance, but he keeps her hidden because, he feels like Facebook or, is detrimental to relationships. Now, I can agree with him on that, but it's kind of funny to me that he doesn't have one picture of him and his fiance on Facebook. But what I did find is one of my friends from Facebook, who I know, I see him commenting on her page, which means they've made contact. So he says that she sent him a friend request, which she definitely may have. But my point is that he's finding pretty women that are my friends on my Facebook page, and I called him out on it because he was asking me that if I needed any of his advice on women. So it was pretty, childish, I guess, the whole thing. But the moral of the story is every time I would troll him, he would he writes a book, explaining away why he did that. And I just troll him. He doesn't even understand. He thinks he's this intellectual superiority educated guy, and he can't even figure out that I'm just literally one-lining him, trolling him, saying, hey, why don't you write another book for me? And he does. And so my last one was I said, hey, keep dancing, monkey. Why don't you write another book for me explaining away your insecurities? And he, like a little bitch, ran to Facebook and turned that in because he's black. And I said, dance, monkey. So that means I'm racist. So he used that, turned me onto Facebook saying that I was making being a white supremacist, I guess, towards him, or being racial and saying discriminatory things. And I did get banned, but listen to this. I didn't get banned for saying racial insensitive things. I got banned for being a bully because he's a little bitch. And I hope Daryl Steplot, I hope you're watching this. I know you're a purple belt in jiu-jitsu, and it's hard for me to believe that you spent that much time on the mat and you're such a little sensitive whore. So funny. Anyway, I'm just kind of ranting today. I got rid of him. So that's another thing I was going to touch on. So I told my sister today, this last 4 years, I've had people talking nothing but nonstop smack about Trump, calling him like every name in the book, on my page, doing everything, saying everything about Trump. And I let them say it because I believe in free speech, and I don't want to delete people because I've said this before, I don't want to live in an echo chamber. So I let them say what they want to say. You know what I mean? I have thick skin. I'm not a little bitch like Daryl Steplite. I have thick skin, and if they want to say call Trump is no saint. I'm not saying he's a saint, and if they want to they call him names, that's fine. But here's the kicker. So here's the deal. So now it's my turn. Hear that? It's our turn. They have been so nasty to us for the last 4 years. It's time for us to stand up and grow a backbone. This is my problem with the GOP and as us as conservatives in general. We have too many morals. We don't want to act like them. So, when things don't go our way, we just take it on the chin and, we go, okay, well, it's, the circus is back in charge. The clowns are back in charge of the circus. It is what it is. And then we just go about our way. We should not do that this time. This is a new day and a new dawn. And the gift that they gave us, let's just say, and it's looking like this is the way it's going to go because the machine is not going to let Donald Trump be president again. They've set everything up to make sure this does not happen again. They had 4 years to get their ducks in a row, and they did. Hell, they could have even released the COVID, for I know, just to do this whole thing because they were dead set to make sure that Donald Trump was not elected again. So they pulled out all the stops and loaded all their guns, and they got all their ducks in a row this last 4 years. And we knew they were doing it. It's no secret. We saw them. We could see it. That's why you have all of this, debate about COVID. You know, people are like locked in their houses, but then if something goes on if the Lakers win the NBA championship, oh, they're all out in the streets. Oh, okay, now the it's all over. Celebration's over. They won. Now we got to get back in our house, and stay in our house. But we can all go out in the streets and celebrate the Lakers winning their championship. There's no COVID right now. COVID's taking a 24-hour break, so we can get out in the street and we can, BLM, we can get out in the street BLM, and then the mayor goes out there with them with no mask on. But then as soon as the BLM thing calms down, everybody's back in their house and it's all COVID again. Oh my God. You got to stay away from the COVID. Can't have more than 20 people. Oh, the Lakers won a championship. Let's go in the street. Yeah. There's no COVID right now because we won. Yeah. Oh, the Dodgers won a championship. Oh, we're back out again. Yeah. Biden wins. Streets are packed. No COVID. And the funny thing is there was an article that came out on The Hill. It's like 12 hours after, not even 12 hours after Biden was announced by the media, not even 12 hours. And it said that indoor concerts may be, Dr. Fauci says indoor concerts actually may be safe now. Well, isn't that just grand? What a coinkadink. And so indoor concerts, really? That's crazy. We've been stuck inside. Can't do anything. Can't even have a little birthday party with 20 people, but indoor concerts with thousands of people. Wait a minute. These celebrations that they're having outside, I thought that's their excuse, because they're outside. There's no COVID outside. You don't get COVID outside celebrating the Lakers win, Joe. You don't get COVID outside. Okay. Indoor concerts. 12 hours, not even 12 hours after the announcement. I told you this, guys. I told you guys this was going to happen. As soon as the election was won, they're going to start diminishing the COVID. Everything's going to start going down with the COVID. They got to lift Biden up. So COVID's got to be diminished now. As a matter of fact, they're talking about a vaccine. Trump was talking about a vaccine, and the whole time he was talking about a vaccine, they were fighting him. There's no way they can have a vaccine. As soon as Joe Biden is announced, now that they think there's a vaccine, Joe's going to, him and Kamala's going to have a vaccine any day. Or as soon as the transition happens, everybody will be ready to line up for a vaccine. I mean, it doesn't, the hypocrisy doesn't get any deeper than what it is with the left. But anyway, my point is, I deleted 2 people yesterday. One off my Instagram this morning, I deleted and blocked him, and one off of, Daryl Steplight yesterday off my Facebook. I deleted and blocked him. As soon as Daryl turned me into Facebook like a little bitch, I deleted him. And that he was the first one. So let me reiterate that. I've been on Facebook since 2008. And in that entire time, I have been insulted in the most degrading ways, but I've never blocked anyone because I feel like people should be able to say what they want to say. And when this political thing caught fire in 2015, when Trump, started talking about running, I got called a lot of things because I said that Trump would win in 2016. And I was mocked and laughed at and called moron and idiot. And I thought you were smarter than that. And no wonder your photography business is failing. I mean, you name it. They come out of the woodwork saying everything they could say about how stupid I was because I thought Trump was going to win. And then when Trump won, I didn't go to their pages and go, hey, moron. Guess who was right? I didn't do that. I waited till they came back to my page and had something to say. And then I gave it to them. But I never went to their page and started any trouble or started anything. But as soon as this Biden thing looked like it was going Biden's way, they flocked to my page to see, my reaction, to see if I had a meltdown over it. And, talking smack. So it's a new dawn. So I deleted 2 people yesterday. And the other thing I'm looking at is I would love to be able to put together a delete your Facebook day for conservatives. So I got on 2 different platforms yesterday, and let me go through these platforms. I got on Parler. I think a lot of you know Parler. If you're conservative, if you're sick of Facebook, you should get on Parler. You should at least sign up. Because I think Parler, now let me tell you this. I'm not a fan of Parler, the design. It's pretty antiquated, and I don't like the way it works. It doesn't work very efficiently. It's kind of like a Twitter, but it's not, it just doesn't, it's not smooth like Twitter is, but it's kind of in the same lines as Twitter. But we have to stick with it. We have to wait for it to grow. The problem is they just don't have the kind of money that Facebook does or Twitter. So we have to stay behind it, and we have to support it, and we have to use it. That's the most important thing. I saw people yesterday in droves leaving Facebook and signing up on Parler. They had like 2 million signups yesterday, which was more than Facebook when Facebook got big. Facebook had to go months before they got to 1 million. And I signed up, I think in August on Parler, and I never used it because I got on it and I didn't like the way it worked. I'm not gonna lie with you or lie to you. But the problem is we have to have an alternative. We have to have an alternative. So if we support Parler now, they will have more money, and as they get more money, they can put more money into the platform, and it can grow. They're all about free speech. They're not going to throw you off of, they're not going to throw you off of Parler for talking about politics. I mean, so it is kind of an echo chamber because it's all, it's 99% conservatives. It's just all the conservatives flocking to it. So, that's one thing, when you're on a mixed social media platform, you do get to have discussions with, people that don't agree with you agenda wise. But at this point, I think we're at a crossroads with Biden. Either conservatives are going to be little bitches like they always have been, and they're just going to put their tail between their legs and go, okay, well, we lost. It's time to go back to work at the tire shop tomorrow. We'll just go, we can't fight the establishment. We're the little guys. So we just have to do what we have to do. No, what we need to do is we need to break away from the GOP, because the GOP is literally, the Republican Party is antiquated, it's old, it's antiquated, and it's still full of neocons, neoconservatives. Neoconservatives are not MAGA supporters. We're the MAGA movement. Let's get that straight right now. We're a different breed. I'm a libertarian. I'm not a Republican. I hate Republicans as much as I do Democrats. We're not Republicans. We're MAGA. We're a MAGA movement, Make America Great Again movement. This right here. The GOP is not on that. The GOP is all about playing nice with the Democrats. As a matter of fact, you can see that in the way they're acting right now. If you go on Fox News, they're suppressing the voter fraud stuff just as much as CNN is. They're not having anything to say about the voter suppression, if there is. And let me say this. If there is no proof of voter fraud, if there's none, which we already seen there was in Michigan, there was 6,000 votes that went to Biden that were reversed back to Trump. And then they said there was 47 machines that same software glitch was on. Then what did they do? The media covered that really quick, because I saw a fact check on Facebook where somebody was talking about it. They never caught my video, but they caught somebody else that was talking about it. And what did Facebook do? Facebook said they came back and did a fact check. And then the fact check, if you read the fact check said, oh, no. I don't know. Who said that. Who said that? It wasn't a software glitch. It was just computer error. I mean, it was a personal error. It was personal error that did it. It wasn't a computer glitch. Why did they do that? Because they figured out, they saw really quick the Pandora's box they had opened. They let the cat out of the bag, because if it was a computer and it was a computer glitch or software glitch that was used by 47 machines, that could be used. Supposedly it was used all over the country. That puts them in parallel. That puts them in a state of on their heels, going So what did they do? They came back really quick and said, no. Nobody ever said that. It was that was misinformation. What it was personal error. 6,000 votes in one county, personal error. Bull. That's fraud. Not 6,000 votes. 60 votes, maybe. 60 votes, yeah. 60 votes, I can buy that. 60 votes, okay, yeah. I mean, that's a lot of votes. 60 votes, you mean somebody was counting the votes wrong and putting them in the Biden, putting the Trump votes in the Biden box, 60 of them? They didn't figure it out that they were looking at the wrong box or putting them in the wrong box. 600? Are you out of your mind? 600? How could one person continue to make that mistake for wait a minute. We're not talking about 600. We're talking about 6,000. 6,000 in one county. This is not made up. This is not, as much as Facebook and all of the powers that be, the Silicon Valley mafia heads, Facebook, Twitter, Google. It's not that it's misinformation. It's accurate, but they label it misinformation because they don't want you to believe it. They don't want people to believe it. So that's where we are right now. And very right on point, Gypsy Travels. And the program has strong ties to Pelosi and the Democratic Party, the Demon Party. Yes. We don't call them demon rats for anything. That's what I call them. We need to rename them. So I am like Trump is a master at nicknames. I am as well. I think that's one reason I'm a Trump supporter. So I do not call Democrats Democrats. I call them demon rats. Their cities are full of rats, and their morals. They think the funny thing is they think we're the deplorables. Remember, we're the deplorables, but in essence, they're the we'll take that. We're the deplorables. They are the vile. We'll be deplorables. They're vile. Brooklyn English Bulldog. Hey, Eve, it's so hard to believe any of them. Exactly. The other thing is so there's always a silver lining. And I love making demon rats' head explode because I love to troll people. I'm a troll. I'll be the first to admit it. I've been trolling since the mid-90s. So when somebody wants to troll me, they're going to... every now and then, like once every 2 or 3 years, I'll get somebody that's on my level. But the majority of the time, somebody's going to get their feelings hurt, and it's not going to be me. It'll be like Daryl Steplight, who run to Facebook to get me to quit hurting his little feelings and quit being a bully. So the demon rats, we need to refer to them what they are. And we need to refer to Biden what he is either, I call it, this is going to get this video demonetized, but there's videos out there, countless videos of him being inappropriately touching little girls right on camera and whispering in their ear and kissing and smelling their hair. Now, I said in a podcast, I think 2 podcasts ago, that does not mean that he is a pedophile. We don't know that. But it damn sure says that he is very inappropriate on camera when there's cameras around, but he just doesn't think anybody's watching him or paying attention to what he's doing, that he's very inappropriate in public with children. So, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, we see it. Like I said, Time Magazine ran an article on it back in, 2015, before Trump was ever president. So the swamp donkey, or I call him Pedo Joe. So what I say is there's a new hashtag that we need to make popular, and it's they remember the F Trump. Chrissy Teigen and her man was yesterday on her Instagram going Trump, Trump. On her Instagram. Classy, I know. So I posted my little, hashtag, Pedo Joe, Pedo Joe, Pedo Joe, and his hoe. So that's my hashtag. Everybody thinks my hashtag is just Pedo Joe. No. There's Pedo Joe and his hoe. Because we all know how Kamala got to where she is today. Let's not beat around the bush. So like I said, there's the silver linings. There's always silver linings. And a silver lining is the Democrats, what did I just say? The demon rats literally elected 2 people. They could not have elected 2 better people for us to drag. They drugged Trump for 4 years. Now we're going to drag Biden and Kamala for 4 years. Don't ever be nice about either one of those. They were never nice about Trump. It's time for us to start slapping Biden caps off people's head. Remember when they did that? Remember when they did that and assaulted Trump people in 2016? That's where we should be. Instead of putting our tail between our legs and just quietly, doing like we do because, we're morally and ethically superior than them, the deplorables we are. We actually don't believe in starting violence, but if they're going to commit violence against it's payback. That's what I'm saying. It is payback. So don't go, oh, okay, yeah, everything's good. So yeah, I mean, it is what it is. Trump lost. So we just have to respect the president. Now, if you look at Al Gore's speech from 2000 when he thought he was president for 37 days, and then he had to concede to Bush. He said, put your patriot. He goes, I know a lot of my people, or a lot of the people that voted me, are very disappointed, and they want to turn their anger towards Bush. But he goes, he talks about some president like Thomas Jefferson or Adams or somebody, and he goes, they understood that, you have to put your patriotic, once somebody is chosen, the people have spoken, and the democratic process has been made, you have to, even if it's not your side, you have to be a patriot and put your patriotism before your party and stand behind that person as president. I absolutely 110% used to believe that before Trump. And that's why when Obama was elected, even though at points, especially his second term, I was not a fan of his at all, you can go back through my Facebook and you can look. And I challenge any of you to do it. Go back through my Facebook and see if anywhere I called Obama any names. I said anything bad about Obama. Now, I complained a couple of times when I lost my health insurance. I was like, oh, this guy's, nobody's going to, mark my words, everybody's going to keep their health insurance. Thanks, Obama. I did those kind of posts, but I never said anything derogatory towards him. Now, I know there was a lot of crazy far-right, Republicans and, the Tea Party and stuff like that was, making, doing things where Obama was being hanged and stuff like that. But that was a tiny little fraction of conservatives. I never said one bad thing about Obama, unless I was with somebody who shared my views with Obama, and we would kind of vent to one another about, how everybody thinks he's Black Jesus, but, he's fucking everybody out of their health insurance. If you're not poor, now, if you were poor on the street, he made sure you got some health insurance. But if you were middle class, he took yours away to give it to them. You know what I mean? That's what he did. And then the other thing he did was he bombed Syria into oblivion. Demon rats won't, they don't eat, what? Obama did what? No. The Guardian actually did a article that I've read several times, right when Obama was getting ready to leave office in 2016. And they entitled it, "What a Bloody End to the Obama regime," or the Obama administration. What a bloody end. And they talked about he dropped 22,000 bombs the last year he was president on Syria. 22,000 bombs and drone strikes. If you go to YouTube right now, remember the Syrian refugee crisis? Isn't it funny how all that just kind of ended on the TV when Trump took office? Yeah, go to YouTube right now, and you're on YouTube. So type in Syrian refugee crisis and look at the videos. There's hundreds of videos, and almost all of them, 7 out of 10 of them will be 4 years ago. Well, who was president 4 years ago, right before Trump took office? So yeah, it is what it is. Wade, what is going on, buddy? So true. We can take a play out of the Democrats' playbook, call them out, and resist. Exactly. That's where I'm at. That's where I'm at. And so anyway, on YouTube and on Twitter, and I'm banned on Facebook right now, but on YouTube, Twitter, YouTube comments, Twitter, where else? Somewhere else I was posting. Oh, Instagram. So I've been, hey, good job electing Pedo Joe. You know what I mean? And they lose their minds. It's hilarious. They just lose it. They lose it. If you say anything bad about Biden, they absolutely lose it. So it's going to be 4 years. Somebody, I had a friend of mine text me or message me yesterday, DM me, and he said, some of you probably saw my story before I got thrown off Facebook. Let me see what he said. It was actually really, really, touching. He's a good guy. I think he's pretty left. He says he was a Republican, but I really don't believe him on that. But he sent me this message, and he's like, "Hey, what's up, my friend?" This is through DM on Facebook. He said, "What's up, my friend? After all of this country has been through with politics and differences, in your opinion, do you see the country uniting anytime soon?" And I very promptly replied, well, it was about 15 minutes, but when I saw his message and I said, fuck no, we're going to drag Biden like they drug Trump for 4 years. And we are going to drag that motherfucker. We're going to drag his old dementia. Can't remember how to spell his first 3-letter name. We are going to drag that and Kamala Harris. We're going to drag them like you've never seen people get drugged before. I mean, they think they were mean to Trump. Oh, we're going to be mean. And the funny thing is I don't know what kind of drugs they've got Biden on, but it is pretty miraculous how 1 minute he can be on stage and he can give a full address without stumbling. We understand he has a stutter, so I'm not making fun of his stutter, but I'm making fun of his dementia. Like when he just goes off the rails, when he goes, me and Barack, we promise every American that we're going to get you a coffee. What? Every American. This is my plan so every American can get some coffee. And there's a video that Tucker Carlson made fun of him. It was on my Facebook page where he just incoherently was blabbering. Nobody even could understand what he said. But, that's all covered up by the mainstream media. So they've got him on some kind of wonder drug, some kind of memory, or some kind of brain stimulant, so they can push him out there on stage and he can actually deliver a full coherent speech. But it'll be interesting to see how long that's going to last, and if he's going to have if they can't keep him on that drug, how long is, and this is all speculation, but I don't understand why 1 minute he's perfectly normal, except for, maybe a couple of little stumbles because of his stutter. But then another time he's completely off the rails. He's talking about this, and then he just starts incoherently mumbling words that nobody understands. Oh, but the mainstream media, they don't even know. They don't see that. Nothing to see here. Adrenaline. Yeah, you may be right. I don't know about adrenaline because adrenaline really doesn't stimulate your brain. It stimulates your body, but not your brain that much. If you gave him adrenaline, it would actually make it compound what he's already going through. But there's some, like Joe Rogan is a big proponent for alpha brain. So I'm sure at the level of chemistry for somebody that's the head of the demon rats, I'm sure they're pumping him up with some kind of, brain stimulant to get him through these speeches so they can push him out there. And then the other thing is you have to realize is the biggest fear is if, old boy kicks the bucket because he's not in the best shape. I mean, he's 3 or 4 years older than Trump. I mean, Trump's 74, I think, and Biden's 70. Trump's 74 and Biden's 77 or 78. I think he's 77. So, but I keep missing the main silver lining that you guys have to realize is it's not looking good for Trump. Let's be honest. Not looking good for Trump. But if Trump loses right now and loses this election, we have to keep our wits about us, and we have to do exactly what the demon rats did for 4 years, degrade them, talk smack about them, label Biden every time he screws up. You got to blow it up on everything. I mean, just let it go, and call him out on it, post the videos on it, post it all over everything. We have to stay vigilant like they did. They did this for 4 years with their hatred of Trump. So we have to do that now. And even though I don't hate Biden, I don't have that distaste and hate for Biden like the left did for Trump. Now, I did with Bush when he started the war lying about WMDs and took us into a war and killed probably millions of people and thousands of our soldiers for basically oil or for our dominance in the Middle East. So we could put bases there and we'd have places to fly in and out our military and would have a military presence there to protect Israel. So, I did have a major problem with George Bush Jr. But we have to find that. And if you don't hate Biden, you have to find it with we're fighting against them now. It's against them. It's two different causes. Random Nomad says the whole Q movement spoke about. I'm not sure with the whole Q movement, that one. The whole thing is you got to realize. Oh, so anyway, I keep forgetting my main point. The main point is even if Biden wins this time, we have to stay vigilant because the other thing is you have to realize is Trump could run again in 2024. He'll still be younger than Biden is. He'll be Biden's age right now. So in 3 years, Trump could run again. And there would be no better than if Trump won again in 2024. Let's put it behind us. Let's let him have it this one. But in 2024, let's get our ducks in a row. There won't be any COVID that they can use to help them, with mail-in ballots and all that bullshit. And they're not going to see it coming. They won't see that. They won't believe that Trump is going to run again. And could you imagine their heads exploding if Trump gets elected again in 2024? They won't have this COVID hoax. They won't be able to push this COVID hoax. So the main thing is if they swear Biden in, if Trump actually does concede and they swear Biden in on Inauguration Day, we should start using the Trump hashtag 2024 just to scare the bejesus out of them, to know that that the MAGA movement is not giving up on this, and we'll see them again in 4 years. We'll see you again in 4 years, motherfuckers. We'll see you again. Oh, well, not important on that one thing. Isn't the Senate? Oh, yeah. So that's a great point, Random Nomad. Let's talk about that. And that's another thing that, that's so weird about this election. The only thing that they won was the presidency. They lost everywhere else. Their big blue wave where did it go? It was a blue trickle of Drano. They lost. They lost houses. They lost houses. They lost 5 seats, I believe, in the House. Right? They still are the majority, but they lost 5 seats in the House. They lost seats in the Senate. They lost everywhere except for the presidency, supposedly, and it's because they've stolen it, and we know it. It's not, the media, Philip DeFranco, any of them can talk about anything they want to talk about. We know that they set this up from the beginning with their COVID hoax, and that's why they've been pushing this COVID thing. We knew it. We tried to fight it, but because it's a disease, you really can't fight it that much because it is actually real. But they could cause the hysteria by pumping up the numbers and keeping everybody locked up so that they could push this mail-in voting. So they would have all of these mail-in ballots that would be an absolute, turn the whole thing into a cluster. Now, here's another thing. So you had the media jumping right on the bandwagon that Biden won before anything even went on. So let's also remember, because I took a screenshot the night of the election. See if I still have it, or if I don't think I deleted it. I may have it on my computer. I may have taken it on my computer. I think so. But anyway, I had a screenshot of the numbers the first night of the election when they called the stop counting or whatever, and the polls closed, and Trump was like 54% and Biden is like 43%. I mean, it was astronomical differences. Like right now, Biden's like at 50% or 49.6%, and Trump's at 49.3%. That's how close it is. But when the polls closed on election night, there was huge gaps. It was a runaway landslide for Trump. And then everybody went to bed and woke up and, whoa, what's going on? Everything had just miraculously changed overnight. And then you wait the next day, nothing happens. There's no major news, and no major news, about the count. I guess they're just still counting. 3:00 in the morning. Oh, miraculously, all of these 100,000s of votes have been found for Biden. Yeah, that puts Biden ahead of Trump. Biden has miraculously took the lead in Georgia. I mean, it's obvious. It's obvious, and it makes me so angry. Like, how dumb do they think we are? And then they want to play this, there's nothing going on. There's nothing going on. Okay, think about this. Go look at how quickly they called Arizona. Go look how quickly they called Arizona. Votes were still being counted in Texas. Votes were still being counted in Alabama and these other states. And go look how quickly the media called Arizona. It was instantaneously, like immediately, Arizona was already blue. Soon as everything started going, which Arizona was red last time around, but this time miraculously. And then if you hear, I've heard this, that they used some kind of computer thing to get an idea of how Biden was going to win Arizona. without counting the votes. They guessed it with this computer thing that gave them the answer that Biden was going to win Arizona instantly. I'm not talking about after they counted millions of votes. I'm talking about right as the whole thing got started, after the polls closed, within hours, Arizona was counting up blue, which didn't make any sense at all. So it is what it is. Wade Ho says 6 months and a day give residency, move to fill the gaps, leave the left coast. We can flip back Arizona and New Mexico. You know, Wade, I absolutely believe that with Arizona. I don't know if I believe it with New Mexico. There's a lot of liberals in New Mexico, in the northern, and then you have Albuquerque, which is kind of a low rent place, and you got a lot of riffraff there, and I think poor people. I saw a meme. I think it was 50 Cent or God, I can't remember who it was. Maybe I don't think it was 50 Cent, but it was somebody. It was a meme, and they said. It said poor people have been voting for demon rats for 50 years and they're still poor. Yeah, so poor people think, but that's why I'm talking about the MAGA movement, that we need to separate ourselves from the GOP. I mean, we need to start our own MAGA movement groups. We need to do whatever we can do to separate ourselves from the GOP, because so many of us aren't actually Republicans. And we need to separate ourselves from the GOP, and we need to move on with the MAGA movement. Random Nomad says, yeah, I really didn't believe that with Arizona because everyone that I met and talked to in Arizona was far from blue. Exactly. The problem is I saw some girl, like I talked about on my last podcast, I saw some girl bragging about, Nevada's blue. She's so happy that everything's so good in Nevada, and Nevada's blue. I go look at her profile. The bitch is from California, and she moved to Nevada like a year ago. So they're like locusts. They're literally like locusts, and they ruin everything. And if you look the crime rate, everything in Nevada, since all of these blue leftists have moved there, like I said in my last podcast, they turn everything to shit. And Vegas is going downhill fast. It had a few years, where Vegas was a little conservative city. It really, really came up. I mean, it came up so much that the mob den, what Vegas was, right? The mob created Vegas. Let's look at it in reality. The mob den, when it became this little conservative city, for years, like a decade or 15-year span there, they tried to make the 24-hour porn cards on the sidewalk, gambling city of the world. They tried to make it family fun. They put in amusement rides in casinos to make it family fun, because it's the adult playground. But it was so they had brought Vegas up so much that they thought, the conservatives, that they actually thought that families could actually vacation there, and they did for 10 years, maybe more. Only Vegas and Reno voted blue. Yeah, that's the biggest problem, is because you have these, these California leftists pouring out of California, and they're moving in like locusts into these other major metropolitan cities because they've ruined their own state. They can't afford to be here anymore. So they've gotten out of California, and they've moved to, a lot of them have moved to Vegas. A lot of them are moving to Arizona. A lot of them are moving to Texas. And like I said, they're like locusts. They ruin everything where they go. They're like an infestation. They're like a cancer. Austin homicide is up 64%. Yes, you have all of the Lance Hale. Hey, Lance, how you doing, buddy? Lance Hale says Austin homicide is up 64%. Well, how many percent is the people that are living in tents on the sidewalk up in Austin, Mr. Lance Hale? Because if I'm not mistaken, Austin's about the only city that you see a bunch of homeless people on the street, just like you do here in LA. Hey, Freedom Dove, you made it. Good to see you, girl. Yeah, Austin, and it's because, like Locust, a lot of these liberal, far left liberals are leaving LA and moving to Austin. And like Locust, the crime goes up, the taxes go up, the gas prices go up, the homelessness goes up. They create that everywhere they go. And if you don't believe that, all you have to do is look at Los Angeles, look at San Francisco. San Francisco's the mothership of their bullshit. San Francisco is the mothership of demon rats. It's the mothership of their ilk. If you like people shooting up shooting up druggies shooting up in the subway or the train terminals, passed out, because they're, with a needle hanging out of their arm and taking a dump on the sidewalk in broad daylight while you're sitting in a restaurant looking out the window. That's San Francisco. This is no lie. San Francisco actually has an app that you can download on your phone so you can report to the city workers of San Francisco where there's human feces so they can come clean it up. That's San Francisco. When you say it's a show, it really is. And that's what they create. If you look at San Fran, if you look at Los Angeles, if you look at Portland, if you look at Seattle, now Austin, anywhere that they get a hold and their far progressive agenda gets a hold of that city, it falls off fast. Dallas is falling off fast because it used to be conservative and it's pretty blue now. It's falling off. The crime's shooting through the roof. And Dallas used to be a very safe little city. I mean, it was so safe and so family friendly oriented, but everybody's moving away. Families are moving away from the nucleus of Dallas. They're getting way out in the country now. They're buying places like my stepsister lives like 45 miles from Dallas, but still works in Dallas. But she lives way out in like Conroe or something like that and commutes. She lives in a little town, a little conservative town, and she drives back and forth to Dallas. But she doesn't stay in Dallas. She just has to work there. And that's a lot of what you get. And, that's what the demon rats, that's what they create everywhere they go. They create chaos. They're all rough and peaceful, supposedly. Joe Eldorado, Wyoming is the next state I'm planning to move to in the next 10 years. Hey, Joe, how are you doing, buddy? You know what, Joe? This is a flip side. My buddy Joe Eldorado, who just commented in the room. I used to have a crush on his sister, by the way. What's up, Rose? Tell your sister Rose I said hi, Joe. Anyway, Joe is one of my friends that moved from California. He moved to Austin, but he's not he's not one of these effing liberals. He's an actual conservative, or if I'm not mistaken, Joe, correct me if I'm wrong. I think he's more of a libertarian like I am. I think he's got more libertarian values than he does Republican. But the poor guy picked up, 4 years ago, Joe, 4 or 5 years ago, and moved to Austin. And he moved from California, but he moved because he's a conservative. He does not agree with, he grew up out in Victorville. Victorville is it's very rural. It's not LA. And if I'm not mistaken, I know he lived in Victorville, I think, when he moved. I know his sister still lives in Victorville. But he moved to Austin to get away from all of this California bullshit, and now all of these Californians that he was trying to get away from have poured into Austin, and now he's complaining about Austin like he was complaining about LA or California. He's trying to get out of Texas and Austin now. He's trying to move to Wyoming to get away from these motherfuckers that keep like locusts swarming in wherever they are and ruining the entire demographic of where they land. Joe Eldorado says, yeah, I'm libertarian, but they consider me a right-winger. I like living in the sticks with guns and playing with local wildlife. Yep, that's Texas right there. Used to be. I mean, that was all of us from Texas. I mean, I was shooting at cow, or I missed. I'm very disappointed in myself, and my brother, really let me. He really didn't make me feel any better about myself when I was in Texas. A cow got after his dogs at my brother's ranch. My brother had went out, and my friend Christy Otts was coming up from Midland to see me, so I didn't go out to work and feed cattle with my brother on the ranch. I stayed back, took a shower, and was waiting on Christy to get there, and then I heard a commotion with the dogs, and my brother and his new wife have these little short-legged dogs. I know what they're called, but for some reason I can't think of what they're called. They're not weenie dogs, but they're like little wolf-looking dogs, but they have these little tiny legs. And then he's got like a border collie, a decent-sized border collie. But I hear this commotion going on, so I go to the front door to look out because I think Christy has driven up, but I don't see a car. So I'm like, what the hell is going on? And I look out, and the dogs are taking off, and then this huge cow comes out of the brush, the pasture, which my brother basically lives in the middle of a cow pasture, comes out of the cow pasture and grabs the little dog and starts taking off with the little dog. And then the big border collie grabs the cow, and the cow was almost twice as big as the border collie dog. So I was like, okay, the cow's going to kill both of them. But anyway, the border collie kicked the cow's butt, got the little dog back, but the cow was hungry, so the cow runs out in the brush, but keeps trying to come back. And the cow was only probably about, God, maybe 85, 90 yards from me. And I picked up my brother's, it's not what is this? It's not a 223. He's got a rifle sitting there. I can't remember what it is, what caliber, but it's got a good scope on it and everything. And it's sitting right there by the door. So I picked up that rifle, and I didn't want to hit one of the dogs. So they were still fighting, and the coyote was coming back trying to get the dog. So I waited, and finally the coyote went out, and he came back in, and he was standing in the brush, but I could actually see him. And I shot and hit the ground right in front of the coyote. I couldn't believe it, because I'm a really, really good shot. The last time I was at my brother's, a bunch of javelinas tried to attack me when I was coming out of my motorhome, and my brother came out and shot and ran them off. But then the next day, the mothers came back. I look out at his cow feeder thing, which is out there exactly where this coyote was, and there's like a whole group of javelinas out there, and I got one of them right here. But I was able to, my brother's truck was there, so I was able to lay the gun on the hood of his truck and get a really good stable shot, where when I shot at the coyote, I didn't have sticks or anything for the gun to be on, so I literally was just standing there holding it. And I don't get to shoot, living in LA, I don't shoot like I did. When I lived out there where my brother lives, I was shooting every day, shooting coyotes, whatever. Let's see. A brush wolf, 1722. An Eskimo dog. No, I can't think of what these are called, but they're like $3,000 dogs. Like they have a puppy that one of the dogs just had. There's only one puppy, and they've already sold it for $3,000. Can't remember what the hell they're called. I'd have to text my brother. Anyway, guys, we just hit an hour. It's going to be, I'm just kind of venting today, just kind of ranting. I know you guys can see that. I really wasn't paying a whole lot of attention to the room, so I apologize for that. I want to apologize to you guys. My last episode, I rewatched it, which most of the time I don't watch these episodes since they're live, but I watched it, and I realized I got off on this whole, when I was a PA, like, who cares? I mean, that's not what I was supposed to be talking about. So if that bored any of you guys, me talking about working as a production assistant in the movie industry, Corgi. Gypsy Van Travels, you nailed it, Gypsy Van. The Corgi, they're Corgis. That's what my brother's new wife, she raises them. So my brother's got they have this one blonde Corgi, because all Corgis kind of have the same coat, and they have one that's blonde that they're very, very, very rare. And she's worth like $6,000 or $5,600, $5,500. And that was the dog that the cow grabbed and took off with. So thankfully for his little cheap border collie, that this dog, I didn't think this dog had a mean bone in his body. I mean, he's very timid, and he's very shy, and he's not very sure of himself, and even when you pet him, he kind of cowers, and I'm like, you poor little dog, you know what I mean? And my brother doesn't mistreat him, my brother, he's just a outside dog, but that little border collie, let me tell you, he went after that coyote, and he was giving that cow more than that cow could handle, and that cow was a lot bigger than he was. So it amazed me. I told my brother, I said, when my brother got back from the house, he heard the gunshot. So my brother was out on the ranch, but he was on his way back to the house, and he heard the gunshot, and he's like, I said, hey man, you got a damn, because he doesn't really pay much attention to that dog. I said, you got a damn good dog right there. If it wasn't for that dog, you would have lost that expensive ass dog. I don't even know what I was doing. Freedom Dove says, I've never seen a blonde Corgi. Yes, exactly. So she's got, because Corgis have that they're white with that darker brown mix. Hers is very, very light. She has it, but it's like a blonde. Size of the fight in the dog, not the size of the dog. You nailed it, Random Nomad. You nailed it, buddy. Oh, I know what it was. Was it you, Random Nomad, that asked me if I got a PayPal? I don't have a, oh yeah, I do, buddy. I sure do. Oh my gosh, man. Random Nomad, buddy. Random Nomad sent me $33, guys. $33 through PayPal, which is probably $35 because I think PayPal takes a cut. Thank you so much, Random Nomad. I can't thank you tell you from the bottom of my heart, dude, how much that I appreciate that. I'm going to get off of here, but I want to share one little thing with you guys. That if it's something that I'm going to try to make a video about this. It's literally about YouTube, and I've been doing this YouTube thing since 2006 for like 12 years, 14 years, something like that. Since YouTube started. It started, I think, in 2005, and I joined, I think, in April 2006. And I always dreamed of being able to do these videos, but I didn't know anything about video because I was a still photographer. And, I had like one of those little goofy, a web, or the camcorder. I always had like one of those Sonys, but I didn't know anything about making videos, really. But when I saw YouTube, I saw the potential, and I've always dreamed of having a very successful YouTube channel. I mean, it's always been a goal of mine. I've talked about YouTube for over a decade to people, and I've tried and tried and tried all these years and never really had any success in it. But as I do it, I always think, well, I need to get this light, or I need to get this better microphone, or I need to get this big light up here. I need to get a better camera. I need to have another camera over here, to make the show more interesting and more appealing. And what I just learned day before yesterday is, I hear this and I see people make videos about it and stuff, but I just never really bought into that. I'm always like, no, production value matters, because I work in the movie industry and I work on low budget indie stuff compared to like high budget HBO stuff. And you see the difference. And, it's like the difference of the minor league baseball team, against the major league baseball teams. There's a big gap there, right? So I always feel like the more you put into your YouTube channel, the better and the more successful you're going to be. Wrong. Let me just say right there, wrong. So about a month ago, my doorknob, I have one of those doorknobs that locks, that you can push in the little lock on the doorknob. And I also have a deadbolt on my door here. And for some reason, every now and then, for like an idiot, I'll turn I'll push that lock in on the doorknob. I don't know why I do it. It's just like I've done it twice. I push that lock in on the doorknob, and the problem with that is I go to the restroom or something down the hall, or there's a water machine that you can get filtered water down, in the little break area, and I'll take my water bottle down there. And usually when I'm doing stuff, so I just jump up and haul ass out there and just let the door close behind me. Well, if that little button's pushed on that lock on that bottom doorknob, I come back, I'm locked out. So I was working one night late. It was probably like 1:30 in the morning, and I got up to run to the restroom and come back. And when I came into the office that day, I came in like at 6 p.m. or 5:30 p.m. to do my podcast and everything. Sure enough, like a moron, I pushed that little lock down. So when I came back, it's 1:30 in the morning, and I'm locked out. Fortunately, my neighbor, who she works at night too, and I didn't know what she did, but she's leaving. So she's leaving her office and locking up and leaving for the day. 1:30 in the morning. We work late around here. She's leaving, and she sees me, and I had told her, I'm like, hey, because the guy that manages this, you can get a hold of him. There's a security guy, but I was going to have to wait until like 9 or 10 o'clock the next day, and I locked my dog in the office. So I was kind of having a meltdown. She comes out, long story short, she knows how to get a credit card. She has a credit card because she's done this herself, and she unlocks my door for me and saves my life. And I thank her. It's late. She's trying to get out of here, but she took like 10 minutes and helped me get my door open. And I could not have been any more grateful, because I was going to have to wait till like 9 or 10 o'clock in the morning and wait for it, because I couldn't even go anywhere in my truck because I left my keys in the office. So I was screwed royally. So anyway, yesterday I was outside and I saw her, and she came up and we kind of started talking, and I'm like, so she's like, well, what do you do? And I said, what do you do? Because she always has these long nails. So I thought she did acrylic nails. And she goes, well, she used to be like a real estate or something like that or something. But she goes, with the pandemic, she goes, what I've been doing like the last few months is I just work on my YouTube channel. I was like, what? She's literally right here, like 10 feet away from my front door. There's a door here, and then she's right on the other side at the other hall. She's right here. I'm like, what? I said, I do YouTube. She goes, yeah. She goes, really? I'm like, yeah. I said, I do YouTube. I'll show you my studio. I mean, that's what my office is. It's set up as a YouTube studio. She goes, oh my God, I'll show you my setup too. I'm like, okay, cool. So we came back in the building, and then I showed her what I've got set up here, and I'm pretty, I'm not bragging, but it's not exactly where I want it, but it's very, very, very close. This is as close as I've ever been with the YouTube setup. And I've been trying to get this put together for years. And this is as happy as I've ever been with a YouTube setup. And then we go over to her office and she shows me her YouTube setup. She doesn't even have a camera. She's filming everything on her phone, and she does tarot readings, which if I heard, it's really popular, but I mean, it's, I don't know much about it. It's not my niche. But I just don't, you don't know. But anyway, she doesn't even have a camera. She uses her phone to record her YouTube videos. She has no lighting. She has no professional sound. She's using the sound on her phone. And she's telling me that she needs a microphone because when she shuffles her cards for tarot, her phone is down looking at her hands, so you don't really hear her voice clear. I've watched her videos. They're fine. She would be better off to have a good mic, but she's really fine. But the funny thing is, she doesn't even show her face in her videos. Her face aren't even in her videos. There's nothing in her videos but her hands shuffling the cards. And then she's talking about the cards. This girl started her YouTube channel in 2018. Now keep in mind, I have 2 channels. I started the first one, this one in 2006. She started in 2018. She has 56,000 subscribers. 56,000 subscribers. 56,000 subscribers. She's making over $1,000 a month. What I'm dreaming of, I'm barely pulling in like $100, $200 when people like random nomads send me these donations through the month. It ends up putting me up over $300 a month, which I cannot thank you guys enough. But it just really taught me that it's more about the content and it's more about really finding your niche. My last video, I had 1,300 views on the last one with the Michigan, labeled the Michigan results thing that was flipped over. So I really need to nail that. I did talk about the van life, but I kind of fell out of that, the photography. So the political stuff, I don't know, I've got to find a better niche because she has 56,000 subscribers. She's making over $1,000 a month, and that's all she's living off of is her YouTube earnings. And, I'm having to learn this new software because I had to book a new movie, an indie movie in December, that's going to pay me a good chunk of change, but it'll get me out of debt. I mean, I'm not in debt, but I don't have any extra money. Does that make sense? I mean, I spent like maybe $800 or $900 to go to Texas for my brother's wedding, and that was pretty much all of my extra money. But this girl, and I'm actually going to give you guys her. I want you to go look this up because if you think I'm BSing you, her card. She gave me her card. If you're into tarot, go check her channel out. I'm going to help her. There's a good chance that I'm going to help her get to where she wants to be, because when you're doing YouTube, you have these things that irritate you. Like right now, I want a stream deck. They're $200. The one I want's $200. And I can't, like I said, I don't have the extra money that I feel comfortable spending $200 to get a stream deck. I've been talking about getting one for 4 months, but the problem is it's something you don't have to have. It makes your life a lot easier to do a stream, but you don't have to have it. I've figured out a workaround with what I've got. So I kind of, like having to look at the music and stuff. I could just push a button and do all of these things, but I can't do that, like this thing here. See, I had to stop and look over at my mixer and push a couple of buttons to get that to happen, to where if I had a stream deck, you set it up and you just push the button. It would be right here in front of me, and I could put like all kinds of things. But it's stuff that you don't have to have, but you just think you have to have it. But her YouTube channel is called Heavenly Star Tarot. That's Heavenly Star Tarot. HeavenlyStartarot. Just Heavenly Star, and then the word tarot, Tarot. go check out our YouTube channel. And I hope to help kind of be a producer and help her get the things that she needs to actually, because she wants to be on camera. She wants to take her channel to the next level. But it's just, I've been struggling for almost going on 15 years to try to get one of my channels to 10,000 subscribers. And she doesn't even show her face. She has no equipment, nothing but her phone. All she has is her phone, and she's got 56,000 subscribers. A conscious type person. I'm enjoying a nice glass of Magateers right now. Taster's great. Oh, awesome. Good for you, buddy. Magateers, huh? That's okay. We had 4 years of your liberal tears. And you never know there, conscious. Trump 2024, buddy. Trump 2024. But welcome, conscious type person. Welcome to the podcast. You're welcome here. Freedom Dove, yeah, okay. You keep telling yourself that. Enjoy that L. What L? What L is that? What L? Hey, conscious type person, what L is that to enjoy? You guys elected a guy that's can barely string together one sentence without going off the rails. I mean, there's no better drag than we're going to get to drag Pedo Joe for the next 4 years. I mean, the guy that you guys elected, Time Magazine did a complete article. Look it up, buddy. Did a complete article on him in 2015 before you guys had Trump syndrome. Time Magazine did an article about how inappropriate he was with women, and that's your L. That's our L. Yeah, you took the L. You're the turkeys that voted for Thanksgiving, not us. You voted for the status quo. You voted for a guy that's been a politician for almost 50 years that's never done anything that's been worth anything. Everything he's done turned into a complete clusterfuck. So, yeah, Trump derangement syndrome. Yeah, I don't know why I can't remember that. Yeah, you guys with your Trump derangement syndrome. And the best thing about it is the other winning thing for us losers is you can't blame Trump anymore when things go off the rails. You don't have Trump to blame anymore. Yeah, when you guys are fucking everything up, you know what I mean? And that's all you do is fuck everything up. If you don't believe how much you fuck everything up, look at the city of L.A. 60,000 homeless people, $5 a gallon gas. People are moving out of this city in droves. That's what you guys do. The demon rats, like locusts. And then you spread to other states like, Nevada and Arizona. And like locusts, you ruin everything there too. Your crime goes up, your property taxes go up, homeless population goes up. That's what you're like I said, you're like locusts. You swarm there and you ruin it. Everything's good. Everything's a conservative, low taxes. Everything's good. People are happy. Safe cities, clean streets. Then you move there and it all goes to shit, just like L.A. L.A. and San Francisco are probably the two motherships of the liberals. Go take a look at them. The mothership of San Francisco, those motherfuckers have an app that you can report where the human shit is so the city can come out and clean it up. Yeah. There's no L for us, buddy. You are the L. All right, guys, that's going to do it. We're at 1 hour and 20 minutes. Freedom Doves, I play for Planet X to swing by and just get it over with and done. Oh, yeah, Random Nomad, New York is starting to get bad. Yeah, they're defunding the police. You know what I mean? The best thing is just going to be set back and watching this show for the next 4 years. And with Pedo Joe in there and his hoe, running everything, it's going to be amazing. There's going to be so much drag. We get they got to drag Trump for 4 years. It's our turn to drag now. And boy, are we going to drag Pedo Joe and his hoe. BML is the next brown shirts. Gypsy Van Travels, have a nice night. And I still think Trump is winning. We'll see. My main thing is just don't get your hopes up. But the main thing is we follow the law. The election's not over. The media's not in charge of calling the election. They can project, which is what they've done. But until every state has been certified, it's not over. So We'll enjoy our L, though, if it is, because we're going to have a grand old time with Pedo Joe and his hoe for the next 4 years. And then Trump 2024. The MAGA movement doesn't die. All right, guys. Have a great night and have an even better week. Thank you guys so much for joining me for this episode of the American Nomad. Freedom Dove, thank you so much. Joe Eldorado, Random Nomad, Gypsy Van Travels. Do you have I don't know if you have a YouTube channel, Gypsy. It doesn't look like it. But Gypsy Van Travels, Joe Eldorado. I said Joe. I'm trying to go back through. Random Nomad, thank you so much for the $33 PayPal donation. You don't know how much I appreciate that. Guns OG, I didn't even realize we had Guns OG. Guns, if you're still in here from across the pond in the UK, thank you so much for joining me. I missed you were in the room, buddy. Guns OG said, hey Nomad, heard there's a vaccine ready for Christmas. If there is one, you taking it? Yeah, we're not taking their vaccine. Yeah. They can shove their vaccine up their ass. It's funny how they've been slamming Trump. Trump saying that there was going to be a vaccine before the end of the year, and they've been slamming him. Now all of a sudden they've completely flipped their script on that. They're so happy that Joe's got it. Joe's going to have a vaccine for us immediately. Isn't that funny? Fucking hypocrites. Wade, thank you so much, Wade, my good buddy Wade. I actually know Wade. Eve, Brooklyn Bulldog, Lance Hale. Thank you guys so much for joining me for this episode. And I will see you guys back here. Hopefully all of you. Clint Westwood, thank you so much. I'm trying to make sure I got everybody. I'd like to thank everybody. Oxley, Xoly, thank you so much for joining me for the podcast here. I think that's going to do it. And we will hopefully see some of you back. Hopefully all of you guys back here on Wednesday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. If you didn't, don't forget to hit that like button. And we will see you back here, hopefully, Wednesday. Have a great week, guys, and a safe week. And let's keep on top of what's going on with this thing. And the other thing, really quick, I forgot to say, is find me on Parler. I've jumped ship. I'm trying to jump ship, and I want to delete my Facebook page. That's my goal in 2021, is be able to just either leave it dormant or delete it altogether. So find me on Parler at Rav Holly. If you're on the Parler app, and be patient with it because there's so many people on Parler right now. I got so overwhelmed with 2 million new subscribers subscribing yesterday that it's running really slow and they're having some bugs. So find me on Parler, or you can also find me now on MeWe. My friend, she sent me a request for MeWe, and it's actually my beautiful friend right there, Sophia. It's actually not it's not bad. I actually like MeWe, the layout, better than I do Parler. But Parler's way more popular right now. So anyway, find me on MeWe and find me on Parler. And be sure to check my banner for the YouTube channel, because I redesigned it. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. And that's going to do it. Have a great week, guys.
Thank you for listening to the American Nomad Podcast. Until next time, keep looking up, because that's where it all is.
My music didn't play. I must have it muted. Anyway, have a great evening and great week.